Welcome into the KO Brothers DFS Podcast. I'm here with you, Michael. Jonathan, he's on his way here. He'll be here in a sec. This is week 16, Super Bowl for some people in season-long leagues. Like me, I'm in the Super Bowl. And for all you Super Bowl contendees out there, whatever you want to say, good luck. I hope you win. This is DFS. Let's jump right into it. We're going to start at the quarterback position. There's only a couple quarterbacks that I actually like this week. I was going through it before, and I really don't like a lot of the players, a lot of the matchups. So I'm actually where I'm paying up, and one of the locks of the week is Andrew Luck. I mean, I'm all over Andrew Luck this week against the Giants, who are quitting on him. There's not much more to say about Andrew Luck. You can pretty much lock 22 points in your lineup for Andrew Luck. Drew Brees, he's got a tough matchup. Even Pat Mahomes, he's playing in Seattle. I don't like that matchup. Ben's on the road. And Matt Ryan, he's a decent pay up at 8,500. He's against Carolina. They're not starting Cam Newton. So they have a backup in undrafted guy, whatever the hell his name is. So they're going to have extra chances at the ball. So, I mean, those are okay matchups. But like I said, in cash, I'm locking and loaded Andrew Luck in 90% of my lineups. Now, as far as those other 10% of my lineups, give or take, another one I'm very high on is Deshaun Watson. He's in a great matchup against Philly, another team that's not quitting, but I'm pretty sure they're just about dead out of the playoff picture. They've got a defense that has been literally trailing all year. I mean, they've been chasing their tails all year. Still have no idea what they're doing on defense. So Deshaun Watson, and they got to keep winning. They are alive in the playoffs, and they got to keep their hopes up. They're going to ride Deshaun Watson right here to another victory. Deshaun Watson is a great pick this week. If you can't afford Andrew Luck's kind of pay up, but not too much. Aaron Rodgers, he's against the Jets. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, but it's no secret he's been struggling this year. And the Jets are decent. You never know what they're going to get. They're at home, the Jets, so they do play a little better at home. I don't trust Aaron Rodgers in cash, but in GPPs, you smash Aaron Rodgers. Back to cash, the last quarterback for cash that I like, if I don't want these other two guys, maybe I can't afford them, so I want to pay down a little bit, it's Baker Mayfield. He's against Cleveland. He is against Cincinnati. I'm sorry, he's on Cleveland. He's playing Cincinnati. He's at home. I mean, I really think Baker Mayfield's going to have a day in this one. I'm not sure who he's going to throw to. I mean, he kind of changes his target up every week. So I'm going to play Baker, but I'm going to play him naked in cash. I have nothing wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. When you get someone like Baker who does spread, for a young guy, he actually does spread the ball out a lot. If I do pair him up, it will be, I guess, Njoku. I know he's hit or miss. But I probably would pair him up with him because it really doesn't hurt you if he doesn't do anything because he's so cheap. He's like $5,000. He's always right around $5,000. And he's around $4,500 on DraftKings. So I would play naked Baker. But if I was playing any of the other two picks, Andrew Luck or Deshaun Watson, I would pair them up with their number one wide receiver, T.Y. Hilton or DeAndre Hopkins. I know they both have injury tags. They're all going to play. Don't worry about it. Both teams need a win. They need this game. They're relatively easy matchups, but doesn't matter. The superstars will be in there, and they will be smashing this week, both of them. So like I said, Luck, Watson, Baker for cash. GPP, definitely smashing Aaron Rodgers. Mitchell Trubisky, I think he's a really nice, sneaky little GPP play. I do think he's going to be low owned because people know that he's off injury. He hasn't been playing well. He did have 19 fantasy points last week, but I just think he's going to be low owned, and that's what you want with especially your quarterbacks. So Mitchell Trubisky, definitely a GPP play. And, of course, the GPP play of all GPP plays is Ben Roethlisberger. He's against the Saints. Probably going to be a shootout game. Both teams need it. Saints got to get that number 1 seed. Pittsburgh's got to keep winning to be in the playoffs. So it is a big game. So it could be a potential shootout. So Ben is a really, really sneaky GPP play, along with, of course, Drew Brees, because Pittsburgh is a good defense. So that's going to steer ownership, and he will be relatively low owned. So I guess it's safe to say that these high-priced guys are GPP smash plays, and everyone outside that, my guys outside that are considered cash plays. So, yeah, if you're paying up, definitely pay. And when you do pay up for quarterback in GPPs, they do, the higher-end quarterbacks do go low owned in GPP. So a good overall strategy. Not for this week, I think it really works, but even not for this week, I just think that when you're picking quarterback in GPPs, the way to do that is to pay up, because everybody wants to save money to get those high price guys in, and I think quarterback, a good way to differentiate yourself in GPP lineups is to pay up, and I really think this week it does absolutely work out for you. All right, we're going to move on to the running back position. All right, now, at running back, in cash, I know you'll pull up the cash slate. You see all these guys. You see Gurley, McCaffrey, Barkley, Zeke, Gordon. You don't know who to play. Every week, I debate between these guys on who to play in cash. I always get at least one of them in my lineup, whether it be Gurley, McCaffrey, Barkley, Elliott, Melvin Gordon, Connor. I try to get one of those guys in there. Kamara's kind of outside that top 5 this week. I always just find myself always at least trying to cram one of them in. And last week I had Barkley and it screwed me at 8 points. But then you get weeks where I got Christian McCaffrey and he gets 40. So, it's a little give and take. This week, however, Zeke Elliott, I think, is the way to go. He's at home. He's the only one of them that's at home. Now, I know McCaffrey, you say, McCaffrey and Gordon are at home. Okay, well, McCaffrey had a little bit of a scare on the injury report if you've been looking. I know it doesn't say it on the fantasy sites, which is a little tricky. But I have an official news site that I get from called Sleeper. And he had a little bit of an injury scare in practice, so he's going to be not 100%. And Melvin Gordon's coming off a 2-game absence or 3-game absence, whatever it was. So he's going to be banged up. I know they need the win. So in this case, if I'm paying up, I'm going Zeke Elliott. I mean, it's just a no-brainer, and Gurley's got the knee injury, so everyone is injured. And I know Barkley's not, but he's on the road. He's against Indy, which is a decent defense, and the Giants, in my eyes, have kind of quit. And I know they got hot for a little bit, but then they lost Odell, and everything just fell apart. So I don't really trust anyone in that offense. I mean, Saquon Barkley and GPPs, fire him up there. But as far as cash goes, if you're going to pay up between those top 5 guys, I think Zeke is the way to go. He's at home. He's against Tampa Bay, who's also a team that's quit. Dallas needs to win this game, and I do think they win on the back of Dallas against a bottom 5 run D. I definitely think Zeke is an absolute smash play at running back this week. Now, right outside those top guys, another one, like I said, he did pop up with an injury scare, but Joe Mixon, Cincinnati has quit, but you know what? Not Joe Mixon. He's really been running hard lately. Since week 12, he's the number 6 running back. As far as fantasy points go into half-point PPRs. So, he's been a beast. And he is running hard, and I think he knows it's the fantasy Super Bowl. So, I do think you can trust him in cash. He's not too expensive. He's not cheap either, but he's not too expensive. And as long as he's cleared, doesn't have an injury designation, fire him up in a good matchup. I know Cleveland has been better since week 12 also against the run, but honestly, who do they got? Who do they have? Cincinnati. They ain't got anybody. They're going to give Joe Mixon at least 25 touches. So, in a decent matchup, 25 touches, sign me up. Now, down a little further, Phillip Lindsay. He is, wow. I mean, Oakland, seriously. fire him up against Oakland. I mean, whoever's playing Oakland, you play. It's that simple. So, Phillip Lindsay, he's a fantastic play. Oakland, another bottom 5 defense in just about any category you can think of. So, Phillip Lindsay, great play. The last 5 weeks, he's averaging almost 20 fantasy points. So, Phillip Lindsay is an absolute great play. He's 7,600 on FanDuel. And right below him, Leonard Fournette, another good running back. Now, I know I always say you want to try to find home running backs, especially in cash. You want to try to get the guys that are playing at home. But I haven't looked, but I can pretty certain that this is almost, at least the Denver-Oakland game is probably a decent spread, maybe 6 or 7 points. So they're going to be, road favorites. And I think Jacksonville's a road favorite over Miami. I don't know how much. I mean, Jacksonville's kind of a shit show too this year. But Miami defense is 31st and the second worst against the run. So, I do think Leonard Fournette, he had a really bad game last week. I think he's a little fired up this week, and maybe he comes out. And I know that he did have a foot injury. So right now he doesn't have an injury designation, but his foot that's this bad foot. So if he does have any setbacks or any injury concerns whatsoever come Sunday, do not play him. Play him only exclusively in GPPs. Do not play him in cash. But as long as he doesn't have an injury designation, fire him up in cash in a fantastic matchup. Also, now me in cash, I'm pairing up my two boys. I've been riding them. I had them both in my cash games last week, except for when I played my brother, who kicked my ass once again in Heads Up. I can't seem to beat him. I don't know what it is. Heads Up last week, I went. I think I went 6-2 overall for cash games. He was one of those two. He's always one of those two. I always seem to lose like 2 heads up. No matter how many I do, 8. I usually do between 6, around 8 total. Between 8 and 10. And for some reason, I always lose like 1 or 2 of them. And those 1 or 2 seems to always be my brother Eddie. I don't get it. I just can't beat him. But I didn't play these 2 running backs against him. Maybe I'm going to fire him up against him this week. But in cash, last week, I paired up Dalvin Cook and Marlon Mack. I said it here on the podcast. They're both in good matchups again. I know Detroit's kind of been streaky this year. But Minnesota's going to ride Dalvin Cook. Cousins is struggling. Thielen has been like, what is going on? You just want to take him by his shoulder pads and just shake him. I mean, what the hell is going on with Thielen? So, I think they ride Cook out. I think Cook's really got something to prove. Another guy's got something to prove. He got injured last year with a torn ACL. Then he gets a hamstring injury. And, the last couple weeks he's been healthy. And his fantasy outputs, 14, 15, and 28. He's finally healthy. He's in a good matchup. I think he's a fantastic, absolute smash play. And Marlon Mack, that's my KO pick. I know it's a little soon for that segment, but Marlon Mack against the Giants, who quit. He's at home. I mean, it was a good matchup it was a bad matchup last week, and he had a great game. So, for the most part, Marlon Mack has been very trustworthy outside of 2 games this year. It's like I said, against the Giants, they're at home. The Giants have quit, and their hot streak came to a screeching halt these last 2 games. So I think Marlon Mack is absolute, cash play. Cook, Mack, those are my cash running backs this week. All right, now, if you find yourself paying down for running back, another mid, all right, so I have Damian Williams. He's also on my list for cash plays. Since he took over the start, he's had 17 points and 27 points in his 2 starts. So you average them out, you're around 22 points. So I think he's a good play. I know it's on the road. It's in Seattle, which is a tough place to play. But outside Tyreek Hill, I really do think they lean on Damian Williams. Now, that's if there is no Spencer Ware. I know Spencer Ware, he got a limited practice in Thursday. I record this on a Thursday night, so I'm not sure about his practice reports on Friday. It is trending up, however, that hamstring injury. But if Damian Williams is the starting back, I do trust him in cash. He's not too expensive. He's 6,700, so it's not bad. I like him better than anyone else in that range. You know, Mark Ingram, Spencer Ware, Jalen Samuels, Sony Michel, Austin Eckler, Gus Edwards. They're all in that range, and if I'm in that range, Damian Williams is your guy. Now, if I want to pay down at running back, if I can't afford any of these high-priced guys, and I want to go, somewhat sub 6K, I think Matt Breida is in a good matchup. He's at home. He was injured last week, but he still had 12 fantasy points. So, that's decent. It's about 2. He's 6,000 this week, so that's like 2x. It's not terrible. You want to try to get 3x, but it's not terrible. Elijah McGuire, he's 5,700. He's in a good matchup. I know it's against Green Bay, but Green Bay's out of the playoff picture. Who knows how they're going to respond? They could come out balls to the walls, or they could come out flat. The Jets are still playing pretty well, which I don't know why. They could be trying to lose and getting a better draft pick, but at the end of the game, at the end of the day, it's a competitive sport, and these guys, they play to win. So I think Elijah McGuire, he's a good play at 5,700. And a little sneak peek at my saver pick, Kalen Ballage. I don't usually like to chase points with running backs, especially when someone comes out of nowhere and just has a blow-up game. But it wasn't really, it was only 18 points, so it wasn't like at 30, or 25 points or something like that. The only reason why I'm saying Kalen Ballage is they're at home. They're against Jacksonville, who I know they've been struggling, but they are talent-wise, on paper, a good defense. So, and Miami, they don't like Kenyon Drake. It's no secret. Come on. They had this guy, then they signed an old-timer like Frank Gore. So, Frank Gore is on the back end, on probably his last year in the league. And they don't like Frank Gore. So, if I was the head coach of Miami, I'd put Kalen Ballage in, and I'd see what this guy's got. And you know what? I think they did that last week. And he proved to be a reliable option. So I think they go right back to it this week. Miami's not going anywhere. So why not see what you got in these young guys? This is the time of year where you kind of got to watch out, and a good time of year to play daily fantasy football, because you can kind of pick these young guys, because teams that are out of it are now going to put in these young guys and see what they got. Do they have a future running back, or is he just a scrub? They got to see for themselves so they can know with this upcoming draft and the upcoming free agency, they got to know what they have on their bench. So they're going to be playing receivers and running backs that haven't played all year. And if they respond well like Kalen Ballage did, I don't see why you don't go right back to him. It makes sense. He's only 5,500, so even if they don't, even if he gets 10 touches, if he gets 10 touches, maybe gets 8 carries and 2 catches, he gets you 50 total yards, it doesn't kill you. It's not going to kill your daily team. So I think he's a good play in cash. I think he's a great play in GPPs as well. Despite his big game, I still think he's going to be low owned. I don't think people are going to trust it. And normally I wouldn't trust it, but it's week 16, it's the end of the year, and I think he's going to have a nice day. So that's my saver pick. He's 5,500. He's sub 5K on DraftKings. So I think he is a nice sneaky play. And if you're really desperate at running back, desperate, you can go Kenneth Dixon. I know they have Gus Edwards, but Dixon has been getting a slight uptick each week, including last week. So, and another young guy. This guy's been on the team for 3 years? He keeps getting injured. So, if he's healthy, why not give this guy a shot? Now, I know that Baltimore is in the playoff picture. So, that still doesn't mean that they're going to, totally abandon their strategy to see what they got in these young guys. They know what they have in Kenneth Dixon. He's just got to stay healthy. He is healthy right now. Why not use him? He's a good weapon. He looks pretty explosive out there. So, you're really desperate. He's 5,400. You can play him in cash or GPPs. Like I said, he's cheap enough where he's not going to kill you. So I do think if you're desperate, you really want to save some money, I don't think Kenneth Dixon is a bad play. Yeah, that's the cheapest. That's the cheapest I would go. Yeah, that's the cheapest I would go. Now, do little rapid fire GPPs. Now in GPPs, however, like I said, we'll go back to the top. Barkley's a good play. McCaffrey's a good play because he's proven to throwing out 40 points in the drop of a hat. I think Melvin Gordon's a good GPP play. Like I said, coming off injury in a tough matchup, he's a good play in GPPs. Alvin Kamara, he's kind of been like lately, so I think that's gonna steer people off him. At home against Pittsburgh, another tough defense, is also gonna steer ownership down. So if you want to pay up, 8,100 is Kamara. He's a decent play at GPPs. And my GPP running back is Nick Chubb. And the only reason why I'm saying GPP over cash is because he's 7,900. He's a little pricey. He's on the Browns. Let's not get carried away here. And I do think this is... I just got a gut feeling, and like I tell you guys, always go with your gut. I got a gut feeling this is going to be a Baker Mayfield game. Don't have any evidence to back that up other than my gut feeling, but like I said, I always tell you guys to go with your gut. My gut tells me this is a Baker Mayfield game, not a Nick Chubb game. Now, Nick Chubb could get a receiving touchdown, but yeah, so he's good for GPPs. I do think ownership's going to be low because of that price. So price is going to steer people off him in cash because you got Phillip Lindsay right there. You got Leonard Fournette right there, and they're cheaper than he is, and they're better plays at running back. So, I think that is going to bring the ownership down on Nick Chubb. Tariq Cohen. He's the GPP superstar. I mean, he's so inconsistent, it's not even funny. So, Tariq Cohen, he's definitely a GPP play. Yeah, all right, that's it for GPPs. Going to move on to the wide receiver position. All right, to the wide receiver portion of our segment. Jonathan gracing us with his presence. 4 wide receivers on week 16. Johnny, what do you got for the wide receiver position for week 16 cash picks?
If I'm looking for a high price guy, probably my favorite receiver of the week if I'm paying up would be AB playing the New Orleans Saints. Or, honestly, even Juju. I like both of them. Saints defense, they're actually a lot better than they were in the beginning of the season. But still, Antonio Brown's Antonio Brown, and no one could guard him. And, I mean, Saints, they're still really not like a good defense. But they could contain people. But I don't think they contain AB.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if I'm paying up, I'm going DeAndre Hopkins. I think he's got the best matchup. I know he's got an ankle injury, but like I was saying earlier, Houston needs this game to make the playoffs. There's numerous teams gaining on them. I think DeAndre Hopkins plays effectively. Now, to the Pittsburgh Juju, Antonio Brown Juju. I do prefer Juju. I love Antonio Brown, but it is cash, so it's whoever's more trustworthy. And who am I going to trust? Eli Apple or Marshawn Lattimore? I trust Marshawn Lattimore. Therefore, I'm going to go with whoever's opposite of Eli Apple. And Juju is probably like 4 feet taller than Eli Apple. I can't wait to see that size difference on the field. So, if I'm choosing out of those two, I'm going to save the $700. I'm going to lock D-Hop in my lineup as I throw a pen at him. And lock in Juju as my wide receiver, too, if I'm going to go that route.
I haven't seen Thielen this cheap in a while. 76.
Yeah, because he sucks. That's why. On Adam Thielen, I don't trust him. I know they're playing Detroit, but you got Slay. Slay's probably going to be on Thielen because he is the number 1, and they're on the road. Kirk Cousins doesn't play well on the road. I'm completely off Thielen. I've had him 2 weeks in a row in daily, and he shit the bed and screwed my team 2 weeks in a row. Those 2 losses I've been talking about against my brother, well, against Eddie, I had Saquon Barkley and Adam Thielen thinking I'm going to ride this matchup all the way to the bank. I got my ass beat. Okay? I'm not trusting Adam Thielen until I see him dominate again, because as of right now, he's not dominating, and I don't trust him. So if I'm in that range, and I got my high-priced guy in my lineup, now, Devontae Adams is also up there. I would also pay up for Devontae Adams. He's also a guy I would definitely smash in my lineups. But if I'm looking around Adam Thielen's range, I'm going T.Y. Hilton. I'm going to lock and load him with Andrew Luck and Marlon Mack. I'm going to triple stack them against the Giants, and I'm going to feel very comfortable about it. They're at home. They're in a must-win. They're on fire now. 7 in a row wins. So I'm all over the Colts this week. All over the Colts. Giants, like I said, they were on a hot streak, but ever since they lost Odell 2 games ago, they've been so all over.
Except for Saquon.
The Colts. Saquon even sucked last week. He started
1 week though. The week before that. Yeah.
I said Saquon. Well, you missed. See, he wasn't even the running back position, but Saquon was a smash GPP play this week because I think, being on the Giants and being that he let owners down, I think he'll be really low owned this week. They're going to go with other guys, so I think Barkley should be in every single GPP lineup. All right, so outside Juju, AB, Adam Thielen, who you going with?
I like Amari Cooper this week, 7,000, playing Tampa Bay. Who's not good at
there it's not.
I mean, last week he let a lot of people down. He's looking like first half of the year, Amari Cooper. But, I mean, so did the whole team. They got shut out. So you can't really expect them to produce when
on-fire Colts, baby.
When the whole team gets shut out. So I think he's going to snap back into it and produce against Tampa Bay.
I couldn't agree more. They're also at home. Tampa Bay, terrible defense. I'm all over Amari Cooper this week. Actually, he's the only one. So if I'm not paying up for somebody, he's pretty much the only mid-range guy I would even consider.
Yeah,
I mean, Kenny Galladay's got a chest injury, but he's been ineffective. Mike Evans, not a chance. Stephon Diggs, nope. Julian Edelman, maybe Julian Edelman. They are facing Buffalo. All right, so I'd say Julian Edelman and Cooper. Those are my 2 mid-range guys. They're both 7,000.
Hope you get well soon, boy.
Yeah, he's never playing football again.
Probably
not. Doug Baldwin's got a hip injury. Tyler Boyd's MCL. So they're all injured. So if I'm in that mid-range, definitely going to Amari Cooper or Julian Edelman, whoever you prefer. I mean, if you're on DK, I'd probably say Julian Edelman because he's going to rack up all those catches, especially with Josh Gordon gone. Those 8 targets a game have to go somewhere. Now, with Josh Gordon gone, however, I do think it opens up Rex Burkhead a little more. Rex Burkhead, everyone knows, is outside Brady. He is Belichick's golden goose right there. He loves Burkhead. He personally went to his house to recruit him. So I think it does help Burkhead. Now, he's a really cheap guy. If you want to go with the running back, he's $5K. I don't recommend it, but I mean, I had him last week in one of those showdown lineups, and yeah, he got me 8 points, so it didn't kill my lineup, and he was like so cheap. So, those 8 targets got to go somewhere. I think Edelman probably gets a couple of them. So down a little bit further, the Moore brothers. They're not brothers, but I mean they're both D Moore. I mean, I don't know. I think they're brothers in my book. David Moore and DJ Moore.
I don't like either of them. Nope.
The Moore brothers. I do like the Moore brothers. David and DJ, they're both at home. They're both in decent matchups. They're only 6,300. I don't think you can go wrong with the 2 Moore brothers. You don't like that?
David Moore is...
And they're not brothers, by the way. I just, you guys know who I'm talking about. Go ahead.
David Moore is more of a GPP play to me because really inconsistent.
Sure.
DJ Moore, I really don't like at all until I see how he plays with Derek Anderson.
No, it's not Derek Anderson.
It's not?
Nope. It's I couldn't find him.
Well, whoever.
Go ahead. I'll find him. Good.
Whoever is the new quarterback under center, he's not gonna have that. It took him a while to get the trust than on page with Cam Newton, and I'm not going to trust it.
It's an undrafted free agent, Taylor Heineke, something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Taylor Henke, maybe? Hanky? Yeah, I guess Hanky. Taylor Hanky, he's $6,000. So if you want to fire him up for quarterback, I wouldn't suggest that. But however, I disagree. I think it helps out more because it can't hurt. Moore is the number one, and he runs a lot of high percentage routes. He's more of a slot receiver, but he does play, deep. So he doesn't run complex routes. He runs very simple routes. He's a rookie. How big do you think his route tree is? I know it's coming up on the end of that season, but I actually think DJ Moore does have a nice game here. They're playing Atlanta, who we all know how Atlanta is. They have a 68% completion percentage in coverage, over a 70% completion rate in coverage. They have an 8% touchdown rate. So, we all know how bad Atlanta is on defense. I know Carolina has given up, but DJ Moore is a rookie, so he's got stuff to prove. And this undrafted free agent, he's got stuff to prove. So you got two players. Forget about the team. You got two players out there who have something to prove. So I think those players, along with Christian McCaffrey, are relatively Ian Thomas. I think Carolina, despite a team that's out of it and a team that has probably going to quit, I think there is still a handful of players that are playable in DFS. No?
Yeah, I just don't think you ever know with a new quarterback. Like Josh Johnson, when he came in, Doxson looked like he was the number one for a little while. And as soon as he came in, he started throwing to Crowder. So I'm just saying, you never know, really.
No, you never know. But
Funches used to be the number one in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, Funches is non-existent now. They, I get that, but he's 6,300, so he doesn't kill your team. If you want to play more in GPPs, I'm all for it. I just personally don't really see anyone in that range I would trust. I'm not going Alshon Jeffrey. I don't even trust Landry. I know it's a good matchup, and I know I said it's a Baker Mayfield game, not a Nick Chubb game, but I don't trust Jarvis enough. He's just too inconsistent for me. Maybe Fitz, but you got Talib back. I know Fitz plays the slot, but, Peters has upgraded his confidence now with Talib back. So even though Fitz has got a nice home streak going, I think it ends against the Rams. I think they get schooled by the Rams. So, all right, so maybe we skip that range altogether and we pay down. Who are you paying down for?
I like Robbie Anderson this week a lot.
Eesh.
Playing Green Bay. What's his name? Darnold is actually playing a lot better.
He's playing better, yeah.
Second half of the year, he's playing better. He's targeting Robbie. Doesn't look like he's afraid to throw the ball as much as he was in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he was more conservative. He's a little more, I guess you want to say risky. Yeah, a little more confident, sure.
So, I think Robbie, him being confident in throwing the ball, Robbie's going to benefit the most out of all the Jets receivers, and he's only 5,900 on FanDuel. So if you're looking to save a little money in that range, I think he's locked and loaded.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks he's gotten above 15 fantasy points, so it's not bad. He had 19 against Houston, 15. So the last 2 games he's been good against good defenses. Buffalo's a good defense, so is Houston. So they're both good defenses. I don't hate it. I'm a Jet fan. I don't hate it. I personally don't see anyone in this range that I'm really going for. Calvin Ridley, you can always fire up that guy in a lineup. That guy can go off at any time, but I don't see anyone. So I guess it's safe to say that you're
paying up at receiver.
Huh?
Paying up at receiver.
Yeah, paying up at receiver. You got Crowder down here who's playing better with Josh Johnson. You can throw him in the lineup, 5,300. This is if you're getting desperate, guys. This is really desperate. I have
Chris Hogan, maybe. Like you said, those Josh Gordon snaps, they got to go somewhere. He got a touchdown last week.
Yeah, but even before Josh Gordon was on the team, Hogan still didn't really produce. So, like I said, I think it favors Burkhead, but that's just a gut feeling. You know, they look like they've been wanting to get him more involved. And James White has been, like, non-existent. So, I think it helps him. So, we'll see. Like you said, you don't know. Hogan could get an uptick. I mean, I would absolutely throw Hogan in a GPP lineup. Without a doubt. It's 5,300. It won't kill my lineup. He could easily get 5x. It's 20 points. I believe he got 20 points last week. He had a 68-yard touchdown grab, so he had 15 points last week. So
would you rather
14 points.
Chris Hogan or Cordero Patterson?
In what?
Patterson's 5,000.
In what, a GPP lineup or a cash lineup?
GPP, because you're probably
Chris Hogan.
either of these guys in cash.
Chris, I don't know, man. They really like Cordell Patterson.
I was using him a lot last week.
He gets a lot more. You know what? I'm always going to go with touches. And Cordell Patterson, I don't even have to look. I know Cordell Patterson probably gets double the touches Chris Hogan gets. So I'm going to go with touches in this case. I'm going to go Cordell Patterson over Chris Hogan in GPPs. If I had to choose, if you want to choose. All right, so we are going to take a brief step back, and I'm going to let Jonathan go on a little running back rant here if he would like, to give the viewers out there maybe his couple of, maybe a handful of smash plays.
All right, so here we go. All right, well, you said you talked about.
Go ahead, hey, what if they want to know what you think? They already know what I think.
All right, well, one of my favorite running backs this week, not my favorite, but one of my favorites would be Marlon Mack, 7,000, playing the Giants defense. I'm not afraid to say they are atrocious against the run.
Yeah, that was my KO pick.
Derrick Henry just ran for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns against them. So, I mean, they feed Mack. He'll do it too. Moving on, we got Jalen Samuels again.
Didn't talk about him.
Stepping in for Connor for the third.
Connor might come back, though.
No, he's not playing. I think they ruled him out already. They say he's unlikely.
I just read that he was likely to play.
Really?
Yeah. On Sleeperbot.
Yeah, that's why I saw it. Maybe I read it wrong.
Hey, things could happen. Check the injury report.
Yeah,
regardless,
he's
basically saying you're playing them guy in this matchup because either way, they both catch the ball. And the way to exploit the Saints is those short passes out of the backfield. So, definitely favors the running back position if they know how to catch the ball, which Connor and Samuels both excel at.
Another running back I like, Chris Carson, playing Kansas City. Another bad run defense. I mean, Seattle finally decided to pick a guy to go with, I guess, because, I mean, he's leading the way in all touches and yards and everything. It's him against Kansas City. He had a monster game last week. I'd see him repeating that again against Kansas City. Because they're a run-first team. Even if they get behind in the game, they're still going to run the ball because...
Yeah, Pete Carroll's always been a running coach.
And now, my favorite running back, who is also my KO pick, Derrick Henry. He is playing Washington. Over the last 2 weeks, he has, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he has 1,000 yards and 74 touchdowns.
No?
Let me double check that then. He had
74 touchdowns?
That's just over the last 2 weeks, yeah.
No.
Alright, he has Derrick Henry, the last 2 weeks, he totaled 51 carries for 408 yards and 6 touchdowns. And the whole season before that, he had 128 carries for 478 yards and 5 touchdowns. So in the past two games, he's pretty much been producing as he's been all season.
Jeez, 48 points, 30 points.
Last game against the Giants, he had 21 carries only in the first half. He finished with 33 carries. Any running back getting over 30 carries is going in my lineup, especially someone who's 300 pounds. I mean, I want to apologize to Derrick Henry because I've hated on him his whole career because I never thought he would be good. Never thought I would.
I still don't think he is good.
I still don't really think he's good. I never thought I'd be picking him as my KO pick. But I mean, he proved me wrong. He got me. I might be falling into the Derrick Henry trap.
Yeah,
but
I agree with you.
With it.
I back up Chris Carson take 1,000%. Derrick Henry, I don't. I know he's at home. It looks like a good matchup. I'm not falling for it. I don't think he has. I mean, Washington has a decent defense and a decent run defense. I mean, he played the Giants, who suck and quit, in Jacksonville, who's been an absolute shit show. I know on paper they're a very good defense. Jacksonville sucked the last 5. They're on like an 8-game losing streak. So I don't merit that. I mean, and then he played the Jets and had 11 points. So I see that output for him. I see him having like maybe an okay day, maybe between 10 and 15 points. I really don't see it exceeding that. I'll be surprised if it does exceed that. He does beast it, but if you look at every year since he's been in the National Football League, he has at least 2 or 3 games like this where he just goes off and runs amok. I just think that's kind of his MO. So I'm not falling into the trap. I don't hate it if you go for him. Now, I'm not saying no, don't do it. I personally am not. I'm not falling for it. I mean, he's 7,200.
That's been his MO because he's never really had like the role to himself though.
Yeah, for a game here and a game there, sure. And he had the, I just think the team knows. Every chance they get for him to be the starter, they bring in somebody else. So I think the team just knows what they have in him, and I just really don't think he's that good of a running back. He's slow. He can't run to the outside, and he gets, like I said, if you get 30 carries, sure, but I mean, me personally, like Derrick Henry 7,200. I'd rather save money and play who I said in my cash lineup, who is Dalvin Cook and Marlon Mack, both in better matchups, playing better defenses. The only thing Derrick Henry has is he's at home. Cook's on the road. Mack's at home, but Mack's a beast. I would just rather save the money. And let's say I wanted to pay up. Right there, just above him, is Phillip Lindsay, who's on fire. Okay, last week he was He's still been on fire. One game doesn't change the fact that he's been on fire, and he's playing Oakland, who's a bottom 5 worst defense in almost every single category. So, I mean, I just don't see myself getting to Derrick Henry. Like I said, if you want to play him, I don't hate it. I would just rather save the money or spend $400 more and lock in Phillip Lindsay, or spend $100 more and lock in Fournette. Fournette's also in a great matchup. We talked about him against Miami. So, I just don't see him being in any lineups. But I guess a realistic exposure, maybe I wouldn't go. If you were all in on Derrick Henry like you are, I wouldn't see my exposure exceeding 25%. So every 1 out of 4 lineups, depending on how many you play, maybe he's 25% cash game viable.
Washington, their run defense is actually pretty bad. The past 7 games, they let up over, for 170 carries, they let up over 900 yards in only the last 7 games.
That's a lot.
My argument for who is Marlon Mack? I love Marlon Mack this week. My only argument against him compared to Derrick Henry is Andrew Luck, because they could easily just go to a passing game and
but they throw to Mack. They don't throw to Henry.
Yeah, but
they throw the ball. Mack gets 5 targets a game.
Mariota can't throw the ball regardless.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Mack could still. There's been games where Luck went off and so did Mack. I mean, they were scoring 30 points each at one point. I see them doing it this week. I see them both scoring 30 points this week. Luck and Mack, maybe Hilton with a 19-point game. So, I mean, like I said, he's on Henry. I'm on players that are around him. I'd rather pay up for Fournette or Lindsay or pay down for Mack or Cook. I just think they're in better spots. I don't think I'm ever going to trust Derrick Henry until I see it. Like I said, the team always brings in somebody else. I mean, they brought in freaking DeMarco Murray, who's terrible, to play over him. So, and I like Dion Lewis, and I think he's had a bad year, but they always just seem to bring somebody in. Anytime they're like, all right, Derrick Henry, you're in. Now we're bringing somebody else. So I think the team knows more than any of us do.
Well, maybe that's just because he's like
Fat and slow.
Yeah,
and eats a lot of
'cause he's
cheeseburgers.
300
He's the
pounds.
next Eddie Lacy. Okay, what happened to Eddie Lacy? He ate too many cheeseburgers, so now he's fat on the couch watching his podcast.
I hope.
I hope so. Shout out to you, Eddie Lacy, if you're watching this podcast.
You're slimming down now. You're slowly looking good.
Yeah, you look good.
Back on that field.
All right, so move on to Todd. You got anything else
No, I'm good.
to say before you
Oh yeah. If,
get off your knees with Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I was just gonna say if my Derrick Henry pick is wrong, I'm probably gonna rethink my life.
Okay. All right. Tight end. I don't see too many viable options this week.
Eric Ebron, baby.
Yeah.
Locked and loaded.
If I'm going tight end, I'm locking Ebron and George Kittle. I mean, you can't go wrong with Kittle. He's only had one bad game all year, and that bad game was 8 points.
Evan Ingram, Odell has yet to practice this week. I don't know if he's gonna play.
I mean,
if Odell doesn't play, Ingram is a top 4 tight end for me this week.
No, I don't. I'm gonna go that far.
Yeah,
Top 4. I'm gonna go that far. I mean, you have Kelsey, you have Ertz, Kittle, Gronk, Ebron, Cook, all in good matchups.
yeah.
I mean, well, Gronk might get an uptick for the Gordon. I just think Gronk is more of a GPP tight end at this point because he's not trustworthy and he's looked slow. His talent is still there. He can catch the ball. His hands are always going to be able to catch the ball. He just looks very slow. He looks like molasses out there. I mean, he still catch the jump balls, but he looks slow. Brady looks slow. The Pats are in trouble this year. Evan Ingram, 5,700. I'm probably just going to pay down for Njoku. I don't see myself getting Evan Ingram. Whether Odell plays or not, like I said, I think it's going to be all Colts in this game. I mean, I don't think the Giants are going to get shut out. Don't get me wrong. But if they put up 14 points, I think it's going to be on the back of Saquon Barkley. I don't really see anyone having a touchdown outside. If Odell plays, maybe Odell and Barkley, or maybe Shepard and Barkley. I don't see anyone else really having a touchdown. Like I said, the Colts have been really sneaky good. I don't really think people realize how good they've really been. So yeah, if I'm going tight end, I'm gonna go Ebron.
You playing lacrosse
Kittle.
this week?
No.
Matt?
No. I'm not playing lacrosse with Matt this week. I'm not doing it. Even though last week he had a decent game, but guess what? I didn't have him in my lineup. The one week I didn't have him in, he actually had a decent game. I think like 9 points last week or something. So, no, I didn't. I had Ebron in all my lineups, who screwed me at 1.9. But
Me too.
the Giants are one of the worst. They're second to Oakland against tight ends. So, you can lock Ebron in that line, especially if Hilton doesn't play. If Hilton doesn't play, Ebron gets 3 touchdowns in this game.
Not play?
He's questionable. Ankle injury. So, I think he's got a couple in his shoulder too. I think Hilton's been pretty banged up. I mean, he's played. He's honestly, all due respect, I thought T.Y. Hilton was a bitch. You know, I didn't
feel like
think
he's
that
always
guy,
banged up, and he always just like.
He's an Iron Man. I mean, he's a tough SOB out there. I really did not think I didn't see that in him. I always just saw a guy who gets hurt and fragile. You know, so. Yeah, he's definitely changed my mind. He's an Iron Man. So if he plays, even if whether or not he plays, if he doesn't play, Eric Ebron's in 99% of my lineups. But let's go on the fact that he is playing, because I think he is.
Then Ebron's only in 80% of my lineups.
I'm going to go with, probably going to have, at least half my lineups probably going to have Ebron. And that other half, I'll probably split between Kittle. I know Chicago's a good defense, and therefore Kittle's a smash GPP play because the defense will stare people off, and the recency bias of him having a bad game. But really, against Chicago, who the hell else are you going to trust to throw the ball to? If I'm Nick Mullins, I'm going to target George Kittle 29 times in this game. I mean, I ain't throwing to nobody else if I want to even have a shot. I don't have a shot at winning, but it is football, so, you know, Chicago's linebackers are their weak spot of the team if they were to have any. I mean, their D-line and their back-end defense is just insane. If you want to go their weak spot, it is probably guarding the tight end. But, yeah, I think Kittle might be in a few of my lineups. But, if...
That's because you love him. You got a man crush on him.
other half of Kittle, I do. He's a good-looking guy. He's like me. He's got big ears. We us big ear people. We stick together.
Yeah, stick together.
If you're gonna pay down, like I said, Njoku and Ian Thomas, I think they're decent plays if you want to pay down at running back. Tight end, not running back. We did running back. Did running back by myself. Or possibly, if you want to get nuts and get crazy, you could go make America great again. Just because Eddie will probably pick him and kick my ass with him like he did. So you might want to try picking Brait or hit Eddie up for picks because he's on fire.
If he beats you again, you got to come on the show. You got to guest star. Just give us all the picks.
I will. I'll see if Eddie wants to come on the show. I will see if he will guest star on the podcast. Sure, I could do that. He's gonna beat me again. I can't beat him. I beat him once. I went on a rant about it already. So what do you got for tight end? I really, like I said, I'm gonna go Ebron, Kittle, and split the rest up. Maybe 20% between Ian Thomas and Njoku and maybe Van Stance.
The only
Cook's a good play too.
Only 10s I really like this week are Ebron, Ingram, and Njoku. That's really it, honestly.
All right. So, all right. Moving on to defense. I mean, right at the top. I mean, the first thing that sticks out is Bears and Rams. Can't go wrong with those two defenses. I personally, like I said, I don't pay up for defense, but Bears and Rams, if you got the money, you're locking them in your lineups. Denver, too. I mean, I got Denver in my season long in my Super Bowl league. I have Denver D playing. I think it's sneaky D. What about you? Who are you paying up for on defense?
Paying up, I'm obviously going to go Bears. But if I'm saving a little money, I'm looking at the Texans at 4,200 playing Philly. I just don't think Philly's as good as everyone else thinks they are.
Not even with the Miracle Kid? What do they call him? The Sing Miracle Kid?
I actually do Nick like Foles, but
I hate Foles. I like Wentz.
I like Foles better than Wentz.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I still don't think who matters. It doesn't matter who's that quarterback. I think the Texans are going to handle them this game.
Yeah, I think so too. Now, if I'm me personally, if I pay down for defense, believe it or not, I'm going with the New York Jets.
It couldn't be the Giants.
The Jets. And now, I know you're going to say, whoa, what the hell, Aaron Rodgers? He's like the GOAT. First of all, Aaron Rodgers sucks this year. I love Aaron Rodgers, but he's struggling this year. The Jets are at home. The Jets are a decent defense. They've always had a good defense, and the way Rodgers has been struggling, and, you know, I mean, why not? Their line can't block anybody. So, I mean, if you want to throw the Jets, I'm not saying I'm going to get 100% exposure with them, but, you know, on some lineups, I try to get as much value. Like, I like to get value in positional players. Anything outside tight end and defense, I really try to lock in that positional value. So if I really need a cheap D, sure, I don't mind the Jets at all. Are they going to get you 30 points? No. They're going to get you 30 points, but probably get you 10 at most. I'm saying ceiling is maybe 10, 12 points against the Packers, which is decent, you know, $3,200. Now, if you hate that pick and you threw up in your mouth and, you know, you don't like that pick, you know, I will go.
I like the same exact price. I like Cowboys and Chargers at 3,700. Both. Not as your pick. I'm saying they're both the same price. The Chargers.
What? The Chargers are the Dallas. What'd you say? The Chargers?
Two different. Yeah, I said that weird. I'm sorry. The Chargers are playing Baltimore at 3,700, I like the Chargers.
No, I was going to say, because the Jets are 3,200.
Yeah, Dallas is playing Tampa Bay, coming in again at 3,700. And I like both the Dallas.
You like the 37, so you're not going past 3,700 is what you meant to say. All right, so Cowboys D, I love. That's where I was going. I said if you hated the Jets D and you threw open your mouth, you didn't like that, then the Cowboys were, I think, probably going to be in at least half my lineups. Winston sucks, and Dallas defense are really good, and guess what? They got embarrassed last week, so I do think they bounce back at home here. And I think Dallas wins this game by a lot, and maybe on a defensive score. Maybe defense has been really good, and I'm telling you, they're feeling it about being shut out. I know the Colts have been on fire, but so is Dallas, and they just come to a screeching halt like that. They're gonna be fired up this game at home. So I'm all over Dallas. Probably get more than 50% exposure on them. As far as the Chargers, Baltimore go.
Chargers have been better since
I know, but I really think that's... I mean, I guess it poses for the defense. I really think there's going to be a really super low-scoring game, especially if Keenan Allen doesn't play. I know they have other options, but statistically speaking, Rivers has been significantly worse without Keenan Allen in the lineup. Even when he goes and Keenan Allen has his bad games, he still requires attention from the defensive backs. So without that, Phillip Rivers definitely struggles. So I kind of avoiding that game. I really don't know how that game's going to go. It is a Saturday night game. You know, it's kind of like those Thursday night games. Anything can happen. So yeah, I'm definitely all over the Cowboys. I'm all over the Texans. Definitely, probably get. That's probably my two defenses. If I can't pay up, I'll probably go for those two. I know I said New England's a shit show, but historically they've schooled Buffalo. I mean, last year they beat them 41-0. So Patriots are a good pick. I know they don't have the best defense, but like I said, historically speaking, they're all over Buffalo. They're terrible against Miami. They play the Jets pretty good, but they school Buffalo. That's just how that division goes. So they're playing Buffalo, so I'm going to definitely lock them in my lineup. And the final defense is the Colts against the Giants. Like I said, I don't see the Giants scoring more than 14 points here. Maybe Indianapolis gets a couple sacks. They got a terrible offensive line. My boy Hunt is going to get right into that backfield all over Eli Manning's face. So, yeah, all up in Eli Manning's face. What? See what you get with teenagers? What else you got for defense, retard?
Definitely not the Colts because they're probably going to lose this game.
You want to bet on that?
No, I'm not.
Right here live on the podcast? Do you want to bet?
No.
$100 bet right now, tough guy.
No chance.
$50.
No chance.
$20.
No.
Water bet.
Nah, because they're not going to win.
Yeah. See? And this guy loves to bet too, so
If they won last week and they're still in contention,
I'll give you a 6-point spread.
Oh yeah, definitely.
6-point spread. What do you want to bet?
We'll do water bet.
Oh, see, he gave that money. He knows they're gonna lose.
$10 water bet.
I don't even know what that is. $10 water bet. Would you go to your defense?
Water bet on
Go
top.
to your defense.
Yeah, see, you didn't want to shake my hand.
Is it $10 really worth it? No. Go ahead. What else you got for defense?
I said my takes.
All right.
I like it.
All right. So, who is your saver pick?
I gotta check his price again, but I think Josh Reynolds is under.
Yep, Josh Reynolds is viable.
He is.
Josh. He's good. He's low enough.
Alright, so yeah, he's definitely one of mine. He's playing Arizona. I mean, last week I'm pretty sure he had 12 targets or something crazy like that.
He had double-digit targets.
And he's their number 3. And Arizona's defense, they're not bad. So, I mean...
No, Peterson's going to lock down one of them, if not both, like on and off. Yeah. Sure.
So I think Reynolds actually performs the best out of all.
You can see Reynolds having 12 to 15 points this game.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think Cooks... Well, Cooks and Woods, I think they have a good chance of getting, not locked down, but
half their snaps locked down. Yeah. If he switches on and off. Yeah, I like the Josh Reynolds pick.
he is 5,300.
Yeah.
Just check.
My favorite pick is Kalen Ballage at running back. Like I said, I think that Miami, they hate, not that I think that they just don't like Kenyon Drake and Frank Gore's in the last year in his league. I think this is going to be the last time we're going to see Frank Gore. So Miami being out of it, I think they give it to Kalen Ballage and see what this young kid's got. So he's my KO pick. My saver pick. Saver pick. Saver is a KO pick that's cheap. All right, who is your KO pick?
Derrick Henry said that for. First of all,
Fat boy Eddie Lacy Jr. We don't care about that.
I just want to apologize for my Jarvis Landry take. I know I let probably half the world down with that pick.
Half the world. You hear this guy talks?
And myself. So I just want to apologize for that. It won't happen again.
I told you not to pick Landry last week. And I'm telling you not to pick him this week. Okay?
Those again.
Alright, yeah, okay. My KO pick. Guaranteed at least 15 fantasy points. Marlon Mac Attack. KO pick of the week. Who is your Stach Attack?
Stach Attack?
Yeah.
Is just Derrick Henry. I'm sorry. My Stach Attack is probably
Derrick Henry and Marcus Mariota.
Big Ben.
Whoa.
Antonio Brown. And Juju.
That's a GPP stack.
Ha!
That's GPP. That's not cash.
Guaranteed like 60 points right
That's
there.
not a cash stack. We're doing cash, guy.
It's a cash stack. I know he's on the road.
That's a cash stack.
Yeah. I know he's on the road.
Okay. All right, let's get to a real take here. I'm all over that Steelers take, but in GPPs only.
What?
That's way too risky for cash, and that has the ability to go for 80 points. And if you get that and that hits in a GPP, you're going to cash, and you're going to win thousands instead of just doubling up on your money. So I'm all over that for GPPs. My stack, like I said it before, Luck, Mac, definitely stacking those two, and I'm going to possibly rope in Ebron and Ty depending on the injury report or depending on how you guys feel. I'm okay with all of them. I wouldn't go all four. That's a little too crazy for my taste unless it's in a GPP. I know this is a really good matchup. I know they need to win, and I know they've all been playing well, but I would go with three. I would go with Luck and Mac and one out of the other two depending on the injury report. Who has a better chance of scoring? I would say Ebron has a better chance of scoring between him and T.Y. Hilton. So I would go Luck, Mac, and Eric Ebron. Now, based on his take of Robbie Anderson, if you want a cheaper GPP stack to allow you to get some Antonio Browns in your lineup and DeAndre Hopkins in your lineup.
And Juju and Big Ben.
I think Sam Darnold, Elijah McGuire, and Robbie Anderson. I know they're facing the Packers, but the Packers have been struggling, and they're relatively cheap. I was off Robbie, but he was on Robbie, so I combined both our takes with Sam Darnold playing better. GPP only, maybe like 5% chance of that happening.
Yeah, no, I made a face at that, but I actually agree with that.
And this is going to be an expensive stack, but it's only a two-player stack, traditional quarterback, wide receiver stack. Another one, I'm all over your boy, Deshaun Watson, DeAndre Hopkins. Stack them two. That's a very, very, very good stack.
GBP stack.
And
Russell Wilson, Chris Carson, Doug Baldwin. GPP
stack. I like that one. And if you are a Cowboys fan, because they're in a good matchup, and Dak's been playing well, and it's a fairly cheap stack outside one player, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and Amari Cooper. I think it's a good stack, cash viable stack. I actually played that stack once this year in a tournament, and I won a decent amount of money. So I'm saying it is cash viable. You want to play in a GPP, that's fine by me. But we both like Cooper. I'm all over Zeke, as like I said, he's the one I picked out of those top 5 guys. I'm going with Zeke in cash just because of everyone's injury concerns and just based on their matchups. So why not throw Dak in there? He's playing well. He played like shit last week, but so did the whole team. I think Zeke was the only one that had a decent game last week. So I think that's definitely a viable stack. Give me a bold take this week.
I wasn't prepared for my bold take. You go first. Let me think one.
My bold take is Jonathan will be late for the next podcast.
I'll be on time.
Oh, wait. That's true. That's not really bold.
That's not true.
My bold take. Ready? This is going to be GPP stack. Bold take. Case Keenum, Phillip Lindsay are going to be a cash viable stack this week against Oakland. I know they're on the road. Their Monday night game. If you're doing that showdown slate, you lock in Case Keenum and Phillip Lindsay in your showdown slate. You'll win some money, trust me.
Do you know if Gurley's playing this week?
He's got a knee injury. It's in their best at their long term to sit him out this game. I know they need to win to keep that home field, but I think he's going to play, but if I was them, I would just be cautious. They have Super Bowl aspirations. Why?
All right, so my bold take is if Gurley doesn't play. My bold take is that C.J. Anderson will produce at least...
-2 points.
At least 12 points if Gurley doesn't play.
All right.
Which really isn't good, but it's good for C.J. Anderson.
No, that's... I mean, with his price, that's probably 3x or close to it.
Probably the lowest you can get on this.
Yeah. And
I hate him.
Another bold take is if Keenan Allen doesn't play, Mike Williams, 80 yards and a touchdown at least. Now, you know what? He's not a yards guy. I'm going to go at least 6 catches and a touchdown if Keenan Allen doesn't play. So that's another bold take. Anything else before we get out of this joint?
Derrick Henry will have 150 yards.
All right. No.
Touchdown.
Scratch that. See you next week.